So today we're talking about the hidden cost of overgiving and why leaders, especially you, powerful visionary leaders who are high capacity and have been able to do everything and handle everything and have taken on more of other people's stuff than you've done for your own soul. What is the cost? And for me, the cost is overwhelm. The cost is overwhelm. And if you're also feeling that you get overwhelmed and then kind of stuck and burnt out and paralyzed when you end up draining and depleting your life force energy, which you're not even potentially realizing that you're doing, you might not know that you need a certain way of recharging that is different from most of the people in your life, and you're not getting what you need, and therefore you get depleted. I'm kind of feeling that at the moment where I'm doing more today actually for other people than I am for myself. Um, and it's kind of messing with my schedule. Like today, I was late preparing for this episode. I actually just changed my shirt because I was rushing to eat some lunch because I was starving, because I work with a nutritionist now and we eat right away in the morning and my metabolism starts going and I'm hungrier than I'm normally am at lunch nowadays if I wait too long. And I got a spill on my shirt and I had to, just now go change my shirt and change my earrings and refresh myself just to show up for this episode. And I'm feeling a little discombobulated because why am I rushing? Why am I rushing? Why am I behind? Well, I have been focusing my attention on something that's going on in my family business that is kind of taking energy away from me. So I want to ask you, where do you notice that you might be getting distracted from what your goals are, what your soul-led mission is, what your visionary intuition and receptivity is calling in for your life, your mission, but you're getting distracted into somebody else's mission, somebody else's dream, somebody else's advocacy, because you could be really good at it because that's what you're really good at. So many things. You're multifaceted, you're multidimensional. So where are you getting taken off your path and feeling a little discombobulated or overwhelmed because you have to pay attention? Well, you don't have to. You're deciding to pay attention to things that are not aligned with you. And so misalignment and overdoing it or causing you to get stuck in your own business, your own brand. And I have the comments open here, so please feel free to ask some questions and then I can maybe answer them on this episode and get some discussion going. Why does it matter that you notice what your soul wants, what you want, more than what others want from you? Why does it matter? Because you will get depleted in your life force energy. And I'm a projector, and some of you might know your human design, and there's 5 different types. I've been studying it lately because I want to learn more about myself and how I operate. And I've had a human design reading by my beautiful friend, Michelle Combs, who I will tag in this post later so you can get in touch with her and get really clear on your human design. But as a projector, I actually don't generate life force. And if I stay involved in other people's missions or energy or presence for too long without taking time away for myself to chill or just do nothing, I can't regenerate. And then I notice myself getting depleted and frustrated. Mostly frustration comes up for me where I'm not clicking, like I'm not in my flow. It takes me out of my flow. And I have to, design practices to get myself back into flow. And what do you do to get back into flow? Like maybe you're a generator or a manifesting generator or what's the other ones? A reflector, which there's not very many of them out there. There's also a fifth one. Why is it not coming to mind? If you know it, put it in the chat for me. But I'm actually been around. What's happened is we have been around a lot of generating and manifesting, generating energy through our lives, which sometimes has imprinted us and programmed us with systems of work and productivity and belief systems and thought processes that aren't even our own. We don't even believe them. We never did, but we have just been following along. And it has interfered with our mission, what we know about ourselves, by dimming our light, by quieting our voices. So I was just on with one of my clients, and we were doing some work around her soul. And for years, she has been playing small because she hasn't wanted to voice her opinion. And so when we don't voice our opinion, we let other opinions inform us, and we actually let the subconscious part of ourselves take on that belief system. And then that's what outpictures in the rest of our life. And it feels misaligned. You might wonder, why is something off? Like, why do I not feel good at this career? Why do I feel like I have to force myself into this? Why am I dreading going to work every day? And I used to feel this way when I was in accounting, which I have a designation for, and I went to school for, and I apprenticed for. And I thought, oh, okay, well, here's my career. It makes me six figures. I actually made multi-millions for the people I worked with, and I became very organized and efficient and computer savvy, tech savvy even. I could solve problems easily. You know, lots of my natural intuitive gifts played into how I worked as an accountant, but I felt like it was boring. And I really had to psych myself up to get there every day. I had to use my practices to tune me up, to put myself into something that I didn't enjoy every day. And that at the end of the day, I had to really protect myself. Like, I absolutely I never looked at an email after 5 o'clock. I never checked my email. I didn't even have my work email on my phone, just in case I might check it, because everything could be an emergency. And then I would be up all night solving problems in my mind instead of sleeping. And does anyone else feel that too? So I had to really engage in a lot of boundaries in order to do that career so that I can function, which, you know what? It was a great practice. I learned a lot doing it, and I learned a ton about myself. But now I find myself being out of there just over 2 years, probably 2.5 years now. I'm not in that office or environment or around any of those types of people. And I'm working for myself. And I don't feel like, I never have the feeling like I don't want to go to work. I always feel excited about coming in, working on my own brand, my own business, serving my clients, and being the guide that I know that I am, which is my human design. I'm a guide. And I'm not a doer. I'm not somebody who's supposed to sit for hours and do bookkeeping or financial statements or tax returns. I'm supposed to guide others. And even guiding others in accounting got really frustrating for me because I didn't even want to teach it anymore. It's almost like it's become an aversion or a repulsion for me. And that is good because it keeps me on my path of purpose, which is to be a guide for high functioning, high capacity visionary leaders who are ready to step into power positions that they have been staying small in wherever they're working in their corporate job, or that one step below where they should be, or into that whole other path of politics or leadership that will be world changing. And once I decided to stop forcing myself into somebody I was not. I got a lot of backlash, of course, "Oh, you're crazy. What do you think you're doing?" And they actually didn't even believe me when I gave them my notice. They thought that I would change my mind, and they didn't even want to tell anybody that I quit because I was running so many different departments for them. And I was essentially a guide, but I was really being abused because I could take on more and more and more and more. And I let myself take on too much responsibility. And it stole away my soul. It starved me of connection with my soul. And I'm wondering where, you might be stepping away already and leading in something that you already love, but that old program of when you worked in corporate or when you were in the wrong career or leading from strategy instead of your soul's desire and what feels good. Because even now, I mean, I went into sales and marketing training for 3 years and I was learning from people who necessarily weren't projectors and teaching me their methods. But some of those methods, when I did them, they felt yucky. Like I could not do them. And whenever I tried to do them, I really failed at them. It was like, a total block. And the thing is paradigms are shifting so fast. And when you're leading from your soul, noticing what feels good for you, like what is a hell yes and what is a absolute no, is so important because it's going to help you make a navigational choice and follow your intuition more often than ignoring it. So if you think back to a time in your life when you either we're in a relationship with somebody, those ones are really easy because I don't think there's one person on the planet who hasn't been in a bad relationship. But when you're in a career, it is a relationship as well, or a job. It's a relationship, and you have this relationship with all of your coworkers. Where did you quiet yourself, silence yourself, act totally against who you really are, and do it for a long time? And now when you're stepping into your own personal brand or your life mission or life purpose, which could be in so many different industries, it could totally be a normal corporate business or aligned industry that is not metaphysical or spiritual or transformational. You might not, you might be sticking to old strategies that work for the old competitive pain point marketing paradigm, and they still feel yucky to you. And you might be wondering, why could I make millions of dollars for this organization and I never even had to try to sell anything and I never had to even market, but I could generate millions of dollars for the business I worked for? Why am I having so much trouble doing it for myself? And I'm looking into my own life because I've had this experience, and I'm always constantly aware of it because there was this old program since I was born being implanted into me from, do what society wants you to do, conform. And I've always naturally been one of those people who is a disruptor and doesn't like to conform. And I'm pretty opinionated. And I would say what I thought, but I would get shut down all the time. And that being shut down or you're stupid or it'll never work, good luck, nice try, those types of things. Maybe you've also had those types of comments made to you that have caused you to stop voicing your opinion. When that, was happening to me for such a long time in my life, it's really taken a lot of personal development work to transform and to stay on top of those old patterns that will creep in when you start maybe hanging around those types of people for too long, or you're, reverting back in one of your old coping mechanisms of, things you do to feel better because you're forcing yourself to align with something that is not aligned with you. And when we override our natural design, we'll get overwhelmed, we'll get frustrated, we'll burn out, we'll start hurting ourselves. And we'll force ourselves. What I know I did is I became disconnected from my spiritual side, which is a huge part of me. It is me. It is I'm a spiritual person. I am an intuitive person. I am a guide. But when I would do things that were misaligned, it would almost cut it off 100%. And then I would have to really go deep back into myself to reattach to my soul, reconnect with my soul, because I would smother it out. I would smother it out with coping, with this, oh, I got to do this, and in order to fit in, when really we've always been meant to stand out and to disagree with the normal operating system of the old paradigm, which is not normal. It's abnormal and insane. And if you've been made to feel like you're the one who's insane, it can get confusing. And you really need to start hanging out with people who you align with. And so what I have done to move forward and to keep moving forward is to create opportunities for myself. And I invite you to think about this for yourself. If you're having trouble and you're feeling like you're still not where you know you deserve to be, where your value is, where you have been able to be successful before, and you're wondering why you're not able to do this for yourself, is create platforms for yourself. Like I created Receptive Radio over 3 years ago, or I'm in my 3rd year, and I practice every week. I come on here every week, and today I had absolutely no idea what I was going to talk about until like 30 minutes before. And I was even thinking, oh, I'll just put up a recording and do a replay, but my computer wouldn't cooperate with me, and I had to just decide, okay, go with it. Just follow the flow that is being presented to you and talk about what is coming up right now for your clients, for yourself, and what you've been noticing out there. And visibility has been one of them, and making money doing what you love is another one. And we really need to decide to create our own platforms. If it's not there and it's not showing up for you, do it yourself. I'm creating, and I'm just announcing this now, I'm creating my own summit to help me build an audience, because I also want to collaborate with 30 other speakers, and I want to get to know more people and create a platform and a stage for other people to shine. I'm also doing a multi-author book with 25 other women, and still enrolling other women and creating that as a platform to shine with other women. And so I'm really stepping out of competition and leaning into collaboration and relationship building, because that is the next wave of the paradigm. We've all been feeling this, we've been noticing it, but that strong hook of the competitive paradigm is so pervasive in news and media and corporations that now there's whole systems of culture change and diversity, inclusion, and equity that are coming in to help guide that away. And bottom lines and profits in that is so, part of business that sometimes it's forgotten. The soul of a business is totally absent and forgotten. And as a soulpreneur, that has to be my number one priority. And maybe it needs to be for you. And when I want you to keep, here's a practice you can test out this week. Just track some evidence around when does it feel good when you're leaning in to your soul and your intuition and posting or marketing or networking, and you're leaning into that and you're noticing that you're feeling good. And then maybe you get some connection calls and, meet some new people and it keeps feeling good. Just write it down, notice it, jot it down. And then notice where you're trying to strategize and force yourself into something and not follow your soul's calling, and then you start feeling yucky and overwhelmed and like eating more ice cream than you normally do or something like that. Jot that down too. And make note of when it's happening, because the contrast is such a powerful medicine, and it's opening up your awareness to what is going on for you. And then you can make some choices and decisions around, no, I'm done with that. I'm going this way. And maybe you'll decide to create a platform for yourself or connect and collaborate with more people who have platforms that are designed just for you. And so, yeah, I announced I am creating a summit, Activate Your Prosperous Life. I have a multi-author book that I'm creating as a platform and inviting women who are aligned with the divine feminine and have powerful stories to enter into that project. And I have my own podcast, and I don't know where all of these things are leading, but they feel good. And I come every week and I get excited, and I feel like I provide some value, and I think that you resonate with me. That's why you continue to watch and why new people connect with me. And so I invite you to try that this week. Just notice where you feel good, you're following your soul, and where does it feel yucky and it's more the old paradigm corporate strategy way, and it's jerky and hiccupy. So have a great week, and I'm excited. If you want to connect with me and send me a DM, I'd love to hear what your results are. What evidence do you gather about yourself? Have a great week.